And welcome back, everybody, to the Podcaster Nation. That's right. I said welcome back because I know you were just listening to our stuff and you loved it so much that you wanted to come back for more. I don't blame you, folks. That's a brilliant move because we have a lot more. Now, why do we have more? Because this is the podcast. It's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. And you cracked the code. Our guest today is, in fact, a podcaster, amongst other things. Folks, this is a place where we all come together to raise each other up. And this is the place where the rising tide raises all ships. So let's get sailing and introduce our guest today. We have with us the host of How to Founder, the podcast. Please welcome Anthony Franco. Anthony, how you doing today?
Good, good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about this really meta subject about podcasters talking about podcasts. It should be fun.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we try to keep it interesting, but I had a chance to listen to your podcast. You've got some very interesting people on there. Do you work with somebody else on this podcast? Is there a co-host type of thing, or is
Yeah,
this
so actually now we have three hosts,
okay?
and it's me, Stephanie, and Chris, and two of us will kind of will run a show, and one gets one off. So we run three shows a week.
Hmm.
And but I only run two of them. So it allows us to keep the content going. Also, it allows us to keep things from being boring to same people all the time, and we feed off each other's energy really well. So it's a good trio.
That's great. I actually haven't heard that before with the rotating hosts like that.
Yeah,
Through
I
three.
don't know if it's the right thing to do or not. It just seemed to make sense for us. So don't take that as a thing to do.
You're not endorsing this. You're just
No.
saying this is how we do it. I got you.
Yeah.
What, if you don't mind me asking, since we're on that topic, what made you come up with that idea? Are these friends of yours, or are they in business with you in some
So,
capacity?
so
Or?
so essentially, I started How to Founder by coming. So Chris Franks and I go back a long time. We're very active in the entrepreneurial community here in Colorado and beyond. And I came to him and I said, Chris, I want to write a reference manual for founders. All the things. So think about every chapter being one thing that you didn't know you needed to know about being an entrepreneur, a tactic, what do you do when an employee steals from you? How does SEO really matter for everything up from leadership to operations to services to sales, all of it. There's just so much that you don't know when going into it. I want to write a book, but I hate writing. So what if we write the book by just doing a chapter per episode and maybe take those transcripts one day and write a book from it? And he's like, I'm in. So that's how we started.
Okay.
Um, there is no monetization strategy whatsoever. um, Chris and I talk about it. We're entrepreneurs that are doing something that has no capitalistic intent on it so far.
All right.
And then we had Stephanie on as a guest actually, and Chris and I we love having a good time. We love laughing. We tell dad jokes throughout the podcast, and most of it is just for us. And Stephanie kind of picked up on the vibe and just went with it. And Chris, after our show, said we should bring Stephanie on as a regular. And that's how it mapped in. It was just we just liked how she fit right in with us.
Interesting. Okay, cool. And so you guys just started doing this passion project, so to speak, for fun type of thing, or what are you trying to accomplish with the podcast that all three of you got into it so heavily and are willing to put that time into it?
Yeah. So what are you trying to accomplish? So I talk about so I connect podcasting. So when somebody asks me why are you a podcaster? And I say it's the same thing for about podcasting and sex are very similar to me. One,
Okay.
I enjoy doing it. If I'm lucky, it's three times a week, and my wife has no idea what I'm trying to accomplish. So, so, so I don't have a good answer to that question. Like, what are we? We're doing it because we love entrepreneurs. We enjoy each other's company. We think we have something valuable to share. We like learning from other entrepreneurs, and um, maybe we can become internet famous someday, but that's not the goal. Like we're just having fun doing it, and I don't see an end to that.
Nice. there's much worse reasons to do podcasting. So, I love it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sorry if anybody got offended by that joke, but that was funny.
So yeah, I apologize.
It's okay. I mean, I couldn't help laughing. I was like, I had no idea where you're going with it, but I'm like, you know what? We're gonna ride this out. There's always an edit
You can
button
cut that out.
later.
You can cut that out.
Yeah, no, no, I'm keeping that in. That was funny. So, all right, good deal. I love that. So, tell everybody a little bit about who you are outside of podcasting, because that kind of goes towards some of the things you talk about in the podcast, of course.
Yeah, so I am a serial entrepreneur. I've started and sold six companies, exited two to public companies. Now I'm not in a company per se right now. I am doing some consulting work on helping companies go to market. And I'm helping entrepreneurs sell their, so I am you know, I am a business broker, so I help entrepreneurs sell their business.
Ah,
And I'm also working on an open source effort in helping evangelize a process to operationalize AI within enterprises. And I know those seem very disparate, and they are. And you can criticize me for not having focus. I'm good with that. I'll go with that. You're right.
has that happened? Have you received some criticism for being, in different areas like that? I mean,
No, but I'm certain my LinkedIn profile is really confusing for people when they land
uh,
on it.
yeah, LinkedIn doesn't let you do a lot of different things on there.
No, no.
No, you almost have to like start over. Like, well, this
Yeah,
is me with this initial, and here's what I
yeah,
do, and then here's me
yeah.
again
Right.
with a different middle initial, maybe. And hey, hi, doing a different deal. No, I think that's great, actually. I mean, especially in today's world, there's no reason to pigeonhole yourself. If you have, five or six different interests, and you feel like you can make money on them, I mean, why hold back? Go for it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the variety. It gets overwhelming, but I'm definitely enjoying the variety.
Very cool. In terms of the
Yeah.
business that you're doing, the when I was I was just chatting with my wife about people I was having on today, and I mentioned, you buying and selling businesses, and she said, "Oh, like the guy in Pretty Woman," and I was like, "Oh, I was thinking back, and I said, actually, he was like buying
Was
other businesses that were failing, and then like tearing them up and selling off the
was Richard
parts."
Greer? No, so he
Yeah,
he was more like just he bought just distressed business. I don't remember
yeah,
what he did. So he
yeah.
bought distressed businesses and he was a turnaround expert.
Yeah, right. So now you said that you start businesses. And so are you starting them yourself from scratch, building them up and then selling them to people to run? Or
No.
what's the
So
process
so
there?
I've done that. So I have done that. Those are the six businesses that I started. Now, so I find that so what I enjoy doing, what I'm really good at is I'm really good at launching and getting things started and rolling and running and think exponential growth. When it
Hmm.
when a business turns into, all right, we need to squeeze an extra 5% of revenue growth every year, or we need to squeeze 5% out in operations for cost. Like that's not me. I'm not great at that.
Okay.
So it's launch and scale. Um, and then uh, and then when it comes to exit is almost kind of like launching. So you're launching your business as a product. So it's a whole new process that you go through in order to sell a business.
Hmm.
So now I help other people that own businesses that are ready to retire or ready to move on. I help them find buyers for their business and exit their business.
Interesting. Okay. And that's where the broker part comes in. Is
Yeah,
that
that's where the
I
broker
see.
part comes
I
in.
see. I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
you. Okay. And so it's like being a real estate broker. You get a percentage of the sale type deal and you find the
Yeah, kind of.
buyer and
Yeah,
all that. Okay.
it's a little more complicated. It's a lot more complicated than that. But yeah, but actually, I needed to get a real estate license here in Colorado to do it. So I am officially
Oh, no
a
kidding.
real estate broker. Although you wouldn't have me sell your home. Trust me.
It's not where you go, right? I got
No,
you.
it's not where I go.
I understand. No, that's fascinating, honestly. I mean, I think I've heard of that, but I didn't really know that that was a thing. So, I mean, that's kind of awesome. Are there a lot of
Yeah,
people
it's
doing that?
absolutely a
And
thing.
okay,
And I don't take on a lot of clients, uh, but the ones that I do engage with me because I'm an entrepreneur first, a broker. Like I happen to be a broker, right? So because I've been in their seat and sold the business and know what they need to look for and know what they're feeling and what they're going through,
Mhm.
I just happen to be a good guide along that process.
Nice. All right, perfect. Wonderful. So is there a lot of competition out there for you where you are, especially in that kind of thing? Or
Um, you know, yes, but uh, how do I say this? There's a lot of people doing what I do, but I don't have a problem finding new companies to work with.
okay, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so there's some competition, but you're just that good, so people are just coming to
No, no,
you.
no. I guess you could have interpreted that as egocentric, but that's not what I meant. It's just there's enough that are in my sweet spot where I don't have to worry about losing business to other brokerages.
Excellent. All right, I'm
Yeah,
glad to hear that.
yeah.
Do you have a particular business or business type or anything like that that you sort of stay within or work within or specialize in terms of what business you try to sell to somebody else? Or is it just
The
anybody who has a
the
business is kind of, possible?
yeah, so industry wise, I look at the businesses that I've sold. So I just have some certain expertise in manufacturing, CPG, SaaS or tech businesses, um, and the size. So I'm small market. So there's brokers that you find when you're between, let's call it 5 and $100 million in enterprise value. 100 million might even be too big. Those are good for brokers. And then there's investment bankers that go up that go between 20 and 300 or 500 million. So
Wow,
I'm on the
nice.
smaller side
Okay.
of those transactions. So yeah, so I guess that would be my answer. It's like, let's say between $5 and $50 million in enterprise value and um, services, tech, manufacturing, CPG. Probably not healthcare. Probably like if you're highly regulated, you don't want to hire me.
Okay. Excellent. All right. I appreciate you indulging the questions. I'm just really
Yeah, sure. I
curious,
know this has
about
nothing to
what
do
you
with
were doing.
podcasting, but I'm
Yeah,
happy to
sorry.
dive down the rabbit hole. I'm good with it.
Right. So you do that, and that's wonderful. Now you have the podcast. We'll get back to that because
Yeah.
you were talking about how you had that all set up. You've got a rotating band of hosts. How many episodes do you have out there?
I think we did 117 yesterday, so we're at 117 now.
Nice. Okay. And you come out 3 times a week. So you've been doing it about how long? Spare me the math.
So we have weeks where we haven't published anything, and then weeks where we published four.
Okay.
It's been a little over a year.
Excellent. Okay. Congratulations. I mean, once you get over that 100 mark, you're in a different territory. So that's considered a
That's what they tell me.
successful
Yeah.
podcast for sure. It's considered established by industry standards once you get over 100. So congratulations.
They
That's
don't care
awesome.
if they're good or not.
There's really no content regulation. No. So it's all right. So somebody tunes into the How to Founder podcast, and they're looking for, I don't know, maybe business advice, whatever it is. What sort of content do you have in there for people who may tune in after they hear this today?
Yeah, it's widely varied. So we don't do. Let me talk more about what we don't do first. So
Okay.
it's not really founder spotlights. Like we're not interviewing the founder about them and their backstory. Not that that's not important. It's just not the kind of podcast we are. Like there's other podcasts for that. How does Jeff Bezos run a meeting? I could care less. Um,
Okay.
the but what we do what going back to that mapping to a book and if you're writing a reference manual for founders like an encyclopedia, right? And you experience a problem or you've plateaued and need to go to the next level. Let's talk about the tactics that belong in that certain how to accomplish that certain thing. So if we talked about financial, like we talked yesterday about building a performa. What does financial forecasting look like? Like that's very niche, right? And we spent the whole episode talking about that. The episode before that we talked about it was a great episode. We talked about how do you deal with high value clients? Like how do you go up the client value chain and go from $10,000 projects to $50,000 projects? We'll
Okay.
talk about you know how to get over your ego, how to develop your noble cause, how to, how to think about SEO. Like it's just all the things that entrepreneurs need to care about at a very tactical level.
Interesting. Okay. And you do this now, is every episode an interview with somebody? Or do
Well,
you do solo episodes?
almost all of them is me is a host and a co-host
Hmm.
and a guest.
Okay.
And so you'll get and the guest is always I shouldn't say always, almost always an expert in the field that we're talking about. And so we'll let that person kind of work through and we'll guide them through with questions that founders would ask. And then me and the co-host or vice versa will add color and also add our experience on top of it. So you kind of get three perspectives on
Sure.
a single topic on every episode.
That's awesome. So in terms of what you're looking for, because that's a very, wide category when you talk about kind of anything that has to do with businesses, so to speak, in that way. Do you have certain people that you reach out to and you kind of focus on, or is there maybe a little more of a niche to it, or is it literally just anybody who has something to offer to an entrepreneur, type of thing is eligible?
Yeah, so you're talking about guests, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Right.
uh, you know, I, along the way, it used to be anybody that wants to talk to our audience, like great, we'll have them on. I've
Sure.
become a little bit more selective. You can imagine the kind of guests that you get when you have that wide a net,
Right.
right? So I've narrowed it quite a bit, and some of the things that we're looking for um, is one, are you an entrepreneur yourself? Now that that usually is, if you're not, that usually is a disqualifier for you. Um, and the exceptions to that is if we're really diving deep on a, like, how do you read a balance sheet?
Hmm.
We might have a CFO on that's never started a business to talk about that, but we've been lucky enough to have entrepreneurs that can talk about that, go dive deep in something like that. And then extra credit if you've written a book, like we'd love to have authors on, because they're they've obviously thought about the subject deep enough to write a book on it. So those are usually the kind of folks that we have on, people that have been there, done that, that can bring not theoretical knowledge, but actual, like here's what they tell you, and then here's what it's really like when this strategy hits the street.
I see. And so the folks who come on have kind of a specific focus on whatever their topic
Yes.
is, it sounds like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They know what the topic is coming. In fact, I have 200 topics already outlined, and the way I book our guests is I have them go and pick the topic they want to talk about.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if it's not on the list, then it's like, all right, tell me what you want, and then I can decide whether or not. But it is from the start. The topics are narrowed.
Excellent. If you don't mind me asking more about that,
Sure.
I've had several people who have inquired to me directly about what's the best way to kind of screen guests, prepare guests, get research on guests, that type of thing. It sounds like you guys use some sort of an intake form, or something where you have this list, or is this through a website? Let's say that I wanted to be on your show. What's the process? How does it begin for that?
So I essentially what I do is I send you a link that
Okay.
has all the topics that are available
Okay.
to book on, and you click on the topic that you want. It sends you right into a booking link. So at the time that you get the link, I've already vetted you.
So you have 200 different booking links into your calendar?
Um, kind of. Yeah. So
Wow.
essentially, if you want me to get into the tactics of it, I don't have 200 different booking links. I have one booking link, and and to that booking link, I send a variable that says this is the topic that's going to be on this invite. So I use cal.com,
Ah,
which
okay.
is great for that. And you can send over one of the form fields to the booking link, and it'll fill that form field in as the subject of the podcast.
Interesting. No, I haven't heard of
Yeah.
cal.com. I've heard of a lot of other ones. I
Yeah,
think everybody's using
it first of all,
Calendly or
it's
something.
free, which I'm a spendthrift, so I love free, and
Okay.
it's better than the Google Calendar thing that does that, and it's better than Calendly in my opinion. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, Google Calendar, I don't have any use for. I'm
Yeah.
just, that's we were talking earlier. It's kind of like Zoom. I'm just kind of like
Yeah.
done with it, you know. But that's interesting. Cal.com. Okay, I'm going to look that up because that's very interesting, and
Yeah,
I think
and
everybody
I
else
don't
should
get
too.
an affiliate. I don't get an affiliate fee for mentioning them, by the way. I'm not paid to say their name.
Okay, we won't put the Cal.com in the links in the show notes
All
or
right.
anything. So no worries. But I appreciate the disclaimer. All right, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's how you find those. That's how folks kind of sign up for you. I mean, 3 times a week is a hefty schedule. You know, that's impressive, especially when you do it every week and you go on the way you have. You've done 100 plus episodes doing it that way. Where do you primarily find your guests? I mean, I know you and I linked up through Podmatch, which is a great service, but there's other
I
ways
was
unless
just
you're
going to say
exclusive to that.
Podmatch is one. And was great to get us started and rolling. And we still get some great guests from Podmatch. We've gotten big enough now where I'm getting pitched. So I'm getting a lot of inbound on wanting to be on our podcast, which is just I never thought we'd be there, honestly. And
Congratulations, that's fantastic.
yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know that you get pitched all the time too, I'm sure.
Oh, every day,
Um,
all the time.
yeah, yeah. um, that's really it. And like we're almost booked out to the end of the year.
Nice. All right. Now, I mean, this is in July right now, so everybody has a
Yeah,
reference. But I mean, so you're
yeah. So
booked out
we're
almost
booked
six
out for
months.
6 months. Yeah.
Wow. All right, man. That's okay. What's your recording schedule like? Do you guys have a set recording schedule that you do, or is it just get them
Yeah,
in whenever you can and
no, no, no,
stockpile them?
definitely. In order to do this, like we put constraints on ourselves, right? One is the topics, like we've defined the topics that we want to talk about, and we're probably gonna have to add to that list soon. The second is the times that we record. So I'm in Mountain Time, so we go live. So another thing that allows us to keep the
Hmm.
schedule is we don't edit. Like there's no editing. We don't send this to post production. We go live. Whatever is said is said. We've had lots of mishaps where somebody's camera didn't work and we still did the episode anyway. And we still publish it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But yeah, so we have 3 times a week that's set: Monday afternoons, and Tuesday and Thursday mornings.
Interesting. Okay, that's wow. So then, I mean, about how long is your lag time between when you record and when you put out? I'm just curious.
Well, it's live, so it goes live on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
Facebook, YouTube, and then within an hour, I have it up on through what is it? Spotify Creators,
Excellent.
where I publish there, and then it publishes to all the other platforms for us.
Excellent.
So very, very quick turnaround.
No, it sounds like it. It sounds like you guys are you're active with it then too, because I mean, if you're going to be having that kind of a schedule, then I mean, you're on this. This is something you guys are all working on, focused on it and everything else. And especially if you're going live, my goodness, on every single episode. That's awesome. It really is. It takes a lot of dedication. So congratulations on that too.
Yeah, it's easier to go live.
You think?
Yeah, because I don't have to, once it's done, it's done. I don't have to worry about it. Maybe we do some social clips with Opus Pro or do a couple posts if that kind of stuff. But once it's done, it's behind me. It's great.
Love that. And that's the best endorsement I've heard for going live from anybody. So I appreciate that. I hope everybody heard that. And it's a perfect segue to my next question, which is, hey, how do you go about promoting your podcast to let people know, hey, this is who we are? Clearly, people know you if they're reaching out to you.
Yeah, so initially we didn't do any promotion whatsoever. It was just, you know, we were surprised. Hey, we have somebody watching us right now. This is really weird. Um, and so essentially going live gives us some automatic reach. So Facebook will say, hey, they're going live right now. Anthony's
Right.
going live right now. LinkedIn, YouTube are the same. So initially we just got reach just by the sheer fact of being live and being regular. And now we have a How to Founder page on LinkedIn that we promote, and we have, I don't know, 1,000 followers. We've just been slowly, incrementally, organically growing our reach. Haven't I'm experimenting with some YouTube promotions. and they've been fairly successful. I just don't know what the kind. I don't know how good the audience is that's subscribing to us. I just don't have a gauge on that yet. But mostly it's just organic, and we have a lot of our guests tune in now. Like a lot of our guests have subscribed and just are listening to our podcast as well.
Interesting. All right. Let me ask you a question about the monetization just for a minute. I mean, you said point blank, there's no monetization going on, and I can appreciate that. I've run into a lot of folks, more than I ever thought I would, who are against monetization and just don't want to for various reasons. Now, is it that you're against monetization, or you just
I'm a
really haven't
capitalist. Hell
gotten to
no.
it? That's
Like
kind of what I'm
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, no, no, no. I'm not against people trying to make money at the stuff that they're doing. I always question, like, why the hell am I doing this? You're not making any money at it. Like, there's no strategy behind it. What are you doing? Um, so it's a hobby. Right now, it's a fun hobby that's growing. So it's enjoyable. Might I monetize it? Yeah, but I don't even know how I would monetize. Like, are people going to buy ads? Are people going to be sponsors of the podcast? Maybe, but I'm sure there's a lot of folks that are listening that are like, that's a fool's errand. Like finding sponsors is really difficult. Maybe you've had luck with it, maybe you haven't. I just don't. I don't know. I just don't know. I haven't looked into it enough to even have a strong opinion on it. But it
it.
feels to me like chasing something that's very difficult to chase. I'm open to ideas. I'm open to ideas and how. I just haven't figured it out yet.
No, I appreciate the honesty of the answer. That was great. Honestly, it's like, hey, I just really haven't gotten into it yet. It
Yeah.
just hasn't. I haven't looked into it, and there is a question about whether or not the research and the work to get into it and to learn how and to actually go find the monetization outlets is worth the time. That it takes to do and everything else. So, you brought up some really really good points there. But yeah,
Don't
so you're
don't
not
get
against it though.
no, I'm not against it. And there's a chicken and egg problem, right? I mean, you have to have an audience worth advertising to in order to get sponsors. And so right now it's just let's build an audience and see where it goes. And there, but there is, I think, I have a hypothesis on value on my podcast, and the hypothesis is that with AI, um, and with content being so easy to produce with AI, and it's good content. Um, what does the world look like in 5 years? And how does one establish value for your brand in this incredibly heavy noise of content this explosion of content that's coming? And so my hypothesis is that I want to produce valuable content with people that I like so that in maybe 5 years we're not it'll be easier to compete with AI in content creation because we've established a brand there.
Hmm.
And maybe if we're good enough at it, we can influence the LLMs when they do searches across our content that says, here's what Anthony thinks about building a financial performa. So there is some intangibles that I think you get with building a podcast. Again, I have no real reliable data around it yet.
Okay. Excellent. I love the answer. And once again, it's another fantastic segue. It's almost like you have my questions in front of you, and that's impossible since I don't write them down. But I know you have some projects that are AI based, that are,
Yeah.
outside of the podcasting world. So I'm curious how you personally and how your team utilizes AI within your podcast framework.
So the I'm trying to, sorry for the pause. I'm trying to figure out how dense to get. I'm just going to go for it.
That's all right.
I use AI in two pieces of the process. One is to prepare for the show, and one is to do the post show publishing. To prepare for the show, I've written a fairly sophisticated prompt that I plug in the topic, the kind of the bullet points that I want to cover. and information about the guest, and it produces a very sophisticated show notes for me.
Hmm.
So we it basically produces the quote script, right? This is the opening. This is how we're going to introduce the guest. These are the questions we want to ask. Here's the speed round. Here's some of the fundamentals. So, but we do the fundamentals live. Like here's the things that the takeaways. Here's where you can learn more, and then the close, right? So all of that is produced through a prompt that I wrote with AI. And then I've extended that out. So what I used to do is put that prompt, paste that prompt into Claude, have Claude spit it out. Then I copied and pasted that into a text edit document. Then I published that text edit document to the hosts. Now I've actually I use Cursor, and if your audience probably doesn't know what Cursor is, it's really a developer's tool to use to write code with AI. But I've used Cursor now to write those podcast scripts with a prompt. So now I just put the general information in, and it produces everything that I need on the back end for the show. And then once the show is completed, I download the transcripts of the show, and I have another prompt that produces a podcast, blog post, the Spotify, title and description, and a draft chapter that's going to go into our book.
Nice. All right. I appreciate you sharing that. I mean, that was actually very clear, at least to
Okay,
me. So
good.
I appreciate it. That's incredible. We got to talk about the book, okay? Because obviously this is something that's an ongoing process. Where are you right now in that process of putting that whole thing together?
So, well, I'm 117 chapters in of 300 chapters.
All
and
right, there
and
we go.
I don't know. I don't have a publisher for the book. I'm not talking to anybody to publish the book. I don't know if we're ever actually going to publish a book. Um, but I'm acting as if, and and honestly, I don't even read the chapters as I paste them in from the AI into the book. Like I have this big Google document, right, that has all the podcast episode titles, and I just paste the chapter that came from that podcast. And I haven't gone through it to even decide whether or not it's good. Um,
Okay.
so I'm just curating content right now, and or not even that. I'm just pasting in content right now, and eventually someday I'll get to it and go start really doing editing, and then decide whether or not I'm actually going to launch the book. I think it'd be a valuable book um, for anybody that's an entrepreneur, or anybody that has a friend that or a spouse or a loved one that wants to be an entrepreneur, to hand them that and say, if you're going to do this thing, here's something that might help you along the way a little bit.
Wow. I mean, I love that because that lends itself to a ton of different things. I mean, you could pull any portion of that out and make a short ebook or something, use it for lead generation for something. I mean, there's just the fact that you're doing that and collecting that info the way you are, um, man, that opens you up to so many different possibilities in the future. I love that. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a great
no,
idea. You're doing it anyway, each episode, so just put it here and you'll come back to it later when the
yeah,
idea
yeah,
hits
yeah,
you.
exactly right.
That's great. That, that is great. Okay, I need to ask you my corny question. This is kind of like my
Okay,
Arnold Schwarzenegger "I'll be back" thing. It's like in every episode, you know. So,
okay.
and in terms of doing your podcast, like actually hosting it, sitting there, doing it the whole bit, producing the episode, what is it about doing the podcast that you love the most? And what is it about doing the podcast that you just absolutely positively throw it out the window, hate the most?
I love I love my co-hosts. Like I just genuinely really like the people that I'm doing this with, and we make each other laugh. So I, it's as weird as it sounds, probably my best friend group, right? It's like we just have a good time doing it. So I absolutely love that, and I always learn stuff, right? So I'm always I love that learning stuff. What I hate doing um, is the requisite posting on social to get Like I hate all the social media stuff that you really should be doing to get awareness around the podcast, right? So it's like posting clips on across social channels and writing more posts and getting on LinkedIn and that it seems like a slog to me and I don't like doing it. And I probably don't do it anywhere near as well as I could be.
Hmm. Great answers. Love the first one. I mean, honestly, like I said, I haven't heard this, rotating co-host thing, but if you didn't just genuinely really care for each other, and really like being around each other and like you said, laugh and really
Yeah.
enjoy doing it, I can't imagine that working, because there's so many different, factors and potential, landmines in that kind of an arrangement.
Yeah, I'm almost hoping that we don't make it because if we do, I think egos will get in the way and we won't enjoy each other anymore. So yeah, I don't want to lose that piece of it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, honestly, somebody's going to cap cut this and they're going to be like, we don't monetize at all. We have no intention of it, and I hope I don't make it.
And everyone's like, "Why'd you have this guy on?
I know.
He's
It's
no
going to
help
play in a
whatsoever."
loop. It's going to play in a loop, on Instagram somewhere in a reel, and I'm going to be like, "No, oh my God." I love it. I love your honesty. And that's isn't that funny though? That's something that happens. It's people change like that. As soon as you make it, then everybody starts worrying about, oh well, how does my hair look? Because I may have an appointment, or I may get, this
Yeah. Oh,
lead.
what's my cut? And it's like, oh,
What's my
do you
cut?
really want to? Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah, okay, we brought in this monetization and well, I do more work than you, so I deserve more money. Yeah, it's all kinds of craziness. That is
Yeah.
hilarious. All right. Well, I love what you're doing. Let me ask you this: anything you might be able to tell us, or any plans to do anything different, add something to it, or is it just stay the course, plow ahead, and keep putting out awesome episodes?
Yeah. One of the things that so a couple things. The I'm always tweaking the prompt that produces the show notes um and produces the chapters. So that's something that I'm continually working on. One of the changes, so that fundamentally just helps us improve the show week over week.
Hmm.
Um, the other thing that we recognized is now Chris, me, and staff will just have shows just three of us. So getting back to that, we really enjoy each other's company.
Hmm.
Now we purposefully will not schedule a guest on a random Thursday just so we can all um, talk about a subject that we're passionate about and we have some experience in, and we make fun of each other. And so that's one thing that we're doing, but nothing like I don't have like all right, here's where I'm going to be next year. Like I don't think about stuff in those terms.
Sure. Interesting, though. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, that's a unique type of solo episode as opposed to a guest episode where you're really not solo. You have all three of you,
Right.
so
Right.
it's still going to have a good dynamic to it.
Right. People
But
don't
that's
want to hear
interesting.
from just me anyway. So I'd be boring by myself on a podcast.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. Let me, I appreciate everything you brought here today. Anybody who hasn't checked out the podcast needs to go check it out. You got some great information and some great guests and great hosts. I mean, watching those folks do their job was really, really cool. And
Yeah.
now I understand what I was looking at because I just didn't understand. I saw one you weren't there and I'm like, wait a minute, what am I looking at here? So I appreciate that, and now everybody understands if they tune into one and you're not there, why, and they'll get it. So let me, as we kind of pull this thing together and wrap it up a little bit, just in terms of time and whatnot. Let me ask you, since you are in fact an established podcast, especially over 100 episodes, and again, congratulations. What's your best piece of advice to podcasters who are out there who are just not quite where you are?
Oh gosh. The reason why I'm struggling is like I don't know if I'm a good person to give advice because I'm doing this for the wrong reasons. Um, but just remember, always revisit why you're doing this, like before every episode. And if you're not having fun, that doesn't mean quit. It means maybe change the way you're doing it.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I I don't know if I have great, I'm sorry. I don't know if I have great
It's,
advice.
it's okay.
I just don't know if I have great advice. But I will say this, enjoy the process. At the very least, learn how to enjoy the process.
Nice. Brother, whether you know it or not, that was great advice.
Okay, okay.
It really was. Especially the part, I think people are all or nothing way too often in podcasting. And so, oh, I'm not having fun, or oh, it's not getting where it needs to go. So I guess I should quit. And I'm always saying, you're the boss of your own podcast. So if you want to change something, change it. There are no rules. This is the wild, wild west. We're out here making this up as we go, you know? And you just completely back that up by saying, look, if you're not having fun, change something, to
Yeah,
where
I
you have
mean,
fun.
yeah, yeah, you have to get back to your noble cause, right? Why are you doing this? And if your why changes and you want to quit, then you can quit. But there is something about being a part of the process and you're learning stuff and you never I always say something leads to something. So maybe it's going to lead to something that you can't even forecast yet.
I love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Co-host in a three-person rotation of How to Founder, Anthony Franco. Anthony, thank you so much, man, for coming on today, sharing everything you have, telling everybody about your podcast, and just sharing that awesome advice and talking to people about monetization the way you did. It's still going to make me laugh when I get off the air. I'm telling you right now. Thank you for everything, brother. It's been great having you on.
Thank you too, Rory. Thank you for having me on.
All right, folks, this has been another awesome episode of The Podcaster Nation. It's the podcast that's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. And folks, today, once again, we showed that this is truly the place where the rising tide raises all ships. So keep sailing.